First of all, congrats on winning the Skool games. Let's give everyone a round of applause. With the launch that you did, you also started a Skool community while you were at it. How's that going?
So the Skool community is going better than I expected, because my big fear was like, okay, now I'm going to have a recurring amount of work that I will not look forward to, and then that won't be good for the community, and there's reputational risk and all that kind of stuff. But if you guys are good with it, I'll share some of the things that have worked really well. So like we had our fourth billing from that 2 days ago, and so our month-over-month churn right now is 2.5%, and it's $3,000 a month. So pretty good. And so I want to, if y'all are good with it, I'll expound on a couple of the reasons why I think that is. Number one, I think that not having a sales team increases the quality of the prospects, because no one is getting sold, everyone is choosing to buy. To be clear, I'm not saying sales teams are good or bad. I'm just saying if someone just clicks a button to buy versus someone collecting a card on the phone, they're going to be more sold, I think. The bar is higher in terms of intent. So that's number one. The second thing that I think was important is from a promising perspective. And so if we think about how communities provide value, either you provide the value to the community, so it's almost like a de facto service monetized with the community component, or the community provides value. The community providing value is significantly more scalable and way less work later, more work up front to build. And so I was thinking about this kind of concept. This will look aggressive for the trolls of YouTube, but here we go. So if you have high qualifications for someone to get into a community and a low price, you will have low churn. And the value of the community will be based on the people inside of the community rather than the person who's running it, right? Like if you have a whole bunch of models that you invite to a club, no one really cares who's holding it. Everybody wants to go in because of the models, right? Now, if you have a high qualification and a high price, then you're going to have some element of community, but also some element of services that's going to go in there. Churn will be higher in the second scenario than the first. This is probably more akin to your like mastermind type stuff. Now, if you flip that and have low qualifications and high price, you have a biz op. And they're going to have the absolute worst churn imaginable that's there. And so sometimes people try to ask the question of like, how do I solve churn? But it's a structural issue. It's like, unless you either raise the qualifications or you change the price in some way, like that churn is going to exist because of the nature of who you're selling and what you're promising and how likely it is for them to have that promise come to fruition. And so with that being said, not having a sales team, having people make a purchasing decision at $3,000 a month after having an extended amount of time with me. So mind you, this isn't like, one, there's the brand component, but two is a 3-day, it's 30 hours of lives or whatever it was. It was a lot. And so there was a lot of time on brand, if you will, prior to the purchasing decision. But then after that, the actual promise was really clear. It was just a workshop to come to my headquarters costs $5,000. And if you bring your team, it's more than that, right? I will do 6 of these for you over the next 6 months. And you can attend virtually. You can also have access to me. That was the only promise. That was it. There was nothing else. And so as a result, we have delivered on that promise, and people are happy with the fact that we said what we were going to do, and then we have done that. I think when you get into like the over-promise, over-deliver, I think it's so overused that I think it'd be better stated to just clearly define what someone is going to get and then absolutely deliver that. Because like nowadays, if you just give someone what they expect, that's why they bought. Like they'll be happy. And so I think those components together have resulted in a good community. And the last piece that I think was significant was from framing the community on the way in. There was Kirby will probably attest to this, a relatively aggressive onboarding video from me, which basically was like, don't ask questions, only provide value to everyone else in the community. Because if everyone provides value, you'll get more than you could ever expect. If everyone's asking questions all day, it'll suck. So don't ask any questions, just provide value. And so like a few weeks in, some people were like, can I ask no questions? Because they were afraid of getting kicked out, because I'm happy to kick people out. Which I also think is probably a big element too. Like if you are going to kick someone out of the community, like this is my way of doing business, but stick a toothpick in their head like a cockroach to warn the other cockroaches to not come. Right? Like if you're going to kick them out, like make it big, make it public. So you don't have to name the name, but I'm saying why you kicked, like, hey, we kicked 3 people out. Let me explain exactly why we did that. And you'll see the amount of people who will support the decision inside of there. And you're like, oh, this is great. So for example, I had 2 guys who were soliciting people. They were basically writing long form articles to try and create business from there. I gave one guy a warning, and then he did it again, and then I kicked him out. And so it was like, the whole point here is to give, not give with the intention of getting business. And so I had to clearly define, which is like, if you want to be in this community, if you want to provide services to someone, that's fine. You just can't charge for it. Very simple. You just can't accept money from anyone in this community. That's the rule. And that made it very black and white for everybody. So one, it created a safe space. Two, they knew I enforced my rules. Three, the whole branding around this or the onboarding was about giving first. And so at week 3 or 4, people were like, yes, you can ask questions, but don't ask stupid questions. And so since then, it anchored so hard on the give side that it kind of like settled left of center. And so it's been a very positive community overall. And so I think all those things put together have created the 2.5% monthly churn at a $3,000 price. Thank you, Evelyn.
It's a tough crowd today.
He's like, I ship data. There's like Claire.
Spent 6 months building something 2 people liked it. So, what is your plan for 2026? We're pretty much at the end of the year.
Us?
Oh, you.
Like me?
You can ask about mine if you want, but I'm asking about yours.
Well, if I ask you now, do you go first?
I don't know how this works, man.
What are your plans for next year?
Well, I think I want to do we've shipped so many features that I don't want to ship a feature for a while. I just want to polish. Like, I think what makes Skool great is that it works, it's fast, it's intuitive, and it's very polished. Like it's intuitive. Yeah. And whenever you add a whole bunch of things, some things aren't so clear. There's some confusion. It takes people some time to digest things too, right? And also there's just a lot of tuning. Like, you might ship analytics, but some people look at it and they're like, that doesn't make sense. It might be accurate, but there's some very subtle psychological thing there. For example, there's just too much red or too much green. And, I want to spend probably 90 days just polishing. For example, too, like notifications, I think we send too many. And you guys get a lot of notifications?
Me too.
Well, I know you do. There's a lot. And so, cleaning that up a bit. We shouldn't send so many, but there's some things we don't send notifications for that are important. And it's hard to just keep adding if you don't also take away. So, I want to remove a lot of the noise, and then we can introduce some new ones that have a bit more signal and kind of balance that. So a big binge of polishing, cleaning, making things intuitive. I mean, another big thing that is coming is the traffic sources. You guys are definitely going to, hopefully more than 2 people like that one. Because to see where your customers are coming from, like, that's pretty good. You can see if they come from Instagram or YouTube or whatever, and how well each channel converts. You also see how many of your customers are coming from the Skool network, which tends to be more than everyone thinks. Because even you're like in French, right? And you're like, surely Skool network's not giving me any customers because we're in French. 6%. Yeah. So it's always surprising in a good way. So you'll have that early 2026. Then I want to do internationalization. So like languages. Who wants those?
Yeah.
You can go away. That's so hard to do. I mean, let's do languages first. Yeah. Right to left is an absolute nightmare. Yeah. Anyway, also currencies. I think I know how to do it, but that kind of goes with languages. So, for example, if like you're in French, right? And when people visit your about page, it's in US dollars and English, even though your text is in French, right? Hopefully next year, pretty early in next year, depending on where someone views the about page from, it'll be in their language and in their currency. So they might see it in Euro and in French. So conversion rates will go up. But for you, everything's still in US dollars. So everything's still done in USD to keep it clean. But the member always sees and pays what in their currency, right? And if anyone's curious about that, ask me about it throughout the day, because that is quite top of mind for me right now. I'm thinking through it all. Yeah. So yeah, internationalization, and also like school discovery. So like right now you view it and it's always the same. It's always in English, but there will be basically a discovery for every language. So if someone's in France and they go to skool.com, not only will it be in French, not only will it be in Euro, but all the communities they see will be in French. So it's like many different schools. It like adapts to where you are basically, which will make your discovery go right up. Like you're getting 6% now, you'll definitely get a whole lot more once we do that. And then I want to binge the whole of next year just on discovery. Because it seems like, I talked about features, I got 2 people that liked them. But then I said, we got 20 million users and 30% of members, and then everyone's like, yeah. So I just want to really just focus on that. Like, I want Skool to give people members. I want you guys to know that Skool is giving you members, and then I want to give you more of them. And I think what you'll find is that they convert higher, and they engage more, and they stay longer too. So they're better members. Because who doesn't want that? And that's going to take me a whole year. What do you think of that idea?
I think it's great.
Thank you. All right. Now, what is your plan for 2026? What do you guys think of the plan for next year? If you think I'm missing something, tell me throughout the day, because we've got plenty of time. But yeah, that's what I think I'm going to do. But yeah, tell us about your plan. I'm very curious.
So we just, after the launch, we went on a big hiring spree. So we got 6 C-suite executives. Basically all Layla, me, and Sharon, who's our president, we're doing was just all interviews, basically since the launch. Layla's official title is shifting to executive chairwoman. And so she will just kind of preside, which will be great for her and me. The big push in terms of next year, I will do something with the Scale Advisory Group. I'll change the name, and there will be probably something that I'll do there. It is a secret right now, but I will make it known when the time is right. And I think it'll become a core component of how we do business at ACQ. So I think it will be very, very big. The Scale Advisory Group went better than I expected. And I said that earlier, but like I will reinforce that point. It went significantly better than I expected in terms of the quality of the members and the quality of the number of interactions that are required. Like the upkeep for our group, because the expectations that were set were so clear and the onboarding was, I would say, hardcore. It more or less self-manages with like 1,000 members, which is super mellow. And I'm a big fan of super mellow. So that's good. I would like more super mellow. But the big kind of like concerted push outside of that will be on the media side. So we're going to probably expand media headcount from like 20-ish to 60 next year. Hopefully to 60-ish. And the idea there is that I would like to create a bunch of repeatable formats that are not, Mozi dependent, that are just all under ACQ. And so, big picture, we'd like to create the Disney of business, which is not just about one character, right? It's about kind of like the universe of characters that are underneath of it. And the difficulty of doing that with the traditional, like kind of like the YouTube playbook, which is talking head, clickbaity headline, whatever, is that format is very like talent dense. Like you need to have talent in order to do that model. Now, if you're to contrast that with more legacy media IP, then think about like a Shark Tank. The judges on Shark Tank can change, but the format itself is something that is repeatable, is ownable IP. And so what we're going to do is be heavily investing into. Some of you guys have seen Cash Cows, maybe it's on my YouTube channel. It's like I do a deep dive with an entrepreneur. So that's one repeatable format. I would like to have like 8 of those that will spawn. So that'll probably like take me next year to just do that. So it's like next year I'll do 2 big things. I'll probably have a big plan. I do have a big plan for what we'll be doing on Skool. And I encourage you guys to copy all of it. And there'll be a big media push on top of that. And so I would like to be a really good use case for like things that work well in Skool. And I do have the advantage of being on the inside, so I know what works for communities. I think the big thing that many communities are missing is qualifications. I think that's the big thing. I think it's leaning too hard into Grand Slam offer, and part of the offer can be who is there. And I think that is the most underrated component of the offer of a community. So like right now, yes, please, thank you. Hello.
You should have said something.
All right. But I think one of the most underrated components is the qualifications with who is in the community. And I think we don't think about this at all. Like if you go to a party in real world, there's somebody at the door who's saying you can't come in, you can come in. If you have a party where you just let everybody in, it's going to be a weird party. And I think many of y'all's communities, not maybe y'all's, but maybe who are watching this, is like some of y'all's communities are weird. And it's because not everyone should be there. And I think being more aggressive on kicking people out, not saying like you're a bad person, it's just like this isn't a fit for you, and that's okay. That's fine. Like we have a different vibe in here. And the whole point of a community is is literally a community is you draw a line in the sand, you say everyone else not but this, right? And so you create this tiny little world. And I think that if you hold that line earlier, the amount of work that has to go into the community later goes down dramatically. The amount of self-policing goes up. The amount of stick in terms of retention goes up. Gross margins go up. The amount of affiliate referrals they're going to generate from that community, because people are like, these people are just like us. You got to join, right? I think all of those things spin. The difficulty is, like most great things, is that it takes longer in the beginning because you have to say no to money, which most people aren't willing to do. But I think if you are willing to say no to money for like at least 6 months, the amount that you'll be able to curate in that community, the culture that you'll be able to have, that's what literally, it's literally you create the brand of the community in that kind of gestation period that then proliferates and that you have to protect. It's a lot like a garden. Like you can grow, it takes a while, and then finally like the good plants come in, but you still have to protect it and weed it, right? And I think people are not nearly aggressive enough because they like seeing their MRR numbers go up. But like the people that I've kicked out were paying $3,000 a month. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, you're fucking up my garden. Like, if you've got a whole rose bush and there's just a bunch of weeds on it, it ruins the whole rose bush. The whole view is messed up. And so I would just encourage you to kick people out if they're not your vibe.
Yeah, I think that's good advice. It's like advice, though it's always complicated, because if you're a noob, it's hard to even get one person.
No, for sure.
Yeah. You want to get some people in the beginning, but once you can get a lot of people, you want to control quality.
Yeah.
And generally this, like all good teams, clubs, everything, the harder it is to get in, the better it is, basically. But it's hard to start that way, right?
Yeah, if you're brand new and are trying to start a party and then like the first person shows up and you're like, not you. It's like, tough. But I think it's the accordion that goes back and forth between quality and quantity. So it's like first you have to get quantity, and then you're like, okay, there's like of this, can I select? And then you select a small amount, and then like you overcorrect a little bit, and you're like, okay, I need some more people in, and you kind of go back and forth. Obviously, this will probably apply more to you guys who are in the room in terms of having that higher bar. But I think just having really objective standards of if you're B2B, it's like you got to make this, or you got to have this amount of customers, or this much revenue, or this much headcount, or whatever around your thing is. I think. Or investable assets, if someone's doing like some sort of investing thing, whatever. On the B2C side, you absolutely can still have qualifications. Like you need to be a woman who's over 45 and have at least 2 kids. Because you'll also find that like when you look at who are the most active people in the community, and the nice thing is that Skool tells you who they are, it's just like, who are they? And then how do I find more of those people? And then that'll actually narrow down the messaging. And there's more than enough 45-year-old moms with 2 kids. Like you will not be like, am I limiting my community? Like if you have enough traffic, like at a certain point, it becomes a snowball. And that's where I think everyone wants to get to, is that the community itself becomes the magnet for more of that type of thing. And that's when you stop having to provide value to the community. And that's when the community becomes, it's a true network effect, right? And so like, I think everybody here would like to have a network effect. In the short term, you have to sell services, sell, one-on-one calls, things like that. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's fine. If you're starting out, you should absolutely do that to go make money. But at some point, you want to shift it from me to you, right? From broadcast to network. And that shift has to come from the quality of the people who are inside of it.
Yeah, I remember reading something a long time ago about hiring talent, and it was from Google, and it was called like the herd effect or something. So like, you've got to be very strict in the beginning with who you hire. Like you've got to have very high standards. Once you get enough of those people together, it creates like a herd effect where it just brings more people in.
And they kick out the bad ones too.
Well, yeah, but those things are so rare that people talk. And I think that's what started to happen at Skool too. Like, it was hard to find the engineers and stuff in the beginning. But now pretty much all of our hires come from referrals. And it's just because they talk, because they all really good people know each other. And something like this is so rare that they will tell each other and then all join. So like, it works in your favor long term. So I'm talking about a team, but the same thing is true with a community. If you have really quality people and you build a really quality space, people will talk and they will invite their friends, and it will start to compound and self-propagate. Yeah.
To complete the loop on the original question, which is like, what are we doing next year? It's big investment in media, and I'll have some continuation for the group that I would encourage you guys to check out, because I think we'll do something pretty unique with it that hopefully we can continue along the lines of what we're currently doing, but even cooler.
You just want that goat emoji, don't you?
I do not.
I know you want it. I don't know if it's fair though.
I do not want it. We will hide everything online. I also never want you guys to feel like I'm competing with you.
It's like that meme of the, like Obama, and he's like, they're putting like their awards on each other. Have you seen the meme?
No, I'll say that.
I'll show you later.
Yeah.
It's
I
funny.
can't wait. I'm excited.
It's funny when you win your own award, basically. Like, it's like if I said I won the skoolgames. Yeah. Speaking of like qualifications, and by the way, when we say that, we don't mean like getting a degree. You got to be clear with people, I've found. We mean just being selective with who you let in, right? Yeah. There's this new group we've seen, and it's called Evolve, and it's making like $500,000 a month, and it's got no sales team. He's got a super small audience. He's got no funnel, doesn't run ads. He's just got some content on YouTube and Twitter, and then it just goes direct to his about page, right? He just points the traffic from Twitter, YouTube, about page. It's like $1,000 a month. He does have qualifications to get in. It's only for e-com business owners that are making more than like $50,000 a month, I think. And it does really well. It makes like $500,000 a month. The churn is super low. The engagement's super high. And he doesn't even do annual. It's only monthly. And I've actually heard a lot of people in high ticket start to look at it and be like, what? Like, what is that? And a lot of people are wondering, is this even like the future of it, of the space? Because I think people want to make a lot of money, but currently you've got to have sales teams and things to do that. And some people have complicated funnels and stuff. I think everyone would like to not have that if it's possible, right? And then I think another community that's very similar to this Evolve one actually is yours, because it's got qualifications. You've got to be a business owner. It is more expensive, but not to a business owner. And it does have very low churn and really high engagement. And you didn't use a sales team. So and it's very minimal to run, by the way. Like, he barely has much of a team. It's super profitable. Like, what do you think of this new model of info high ticket? And like, might this be where things are going?
I do think that, so I'll zoom out and say, like, if you add a sales team to most businesses will make more money. And so if you were to think about your attention like a pyramid, if you just draw a line at the top of the pyramid, that's what you would convert automatically. If you go lower than that, then you basically convert a colder percentage of the audience, because the sales team kind of nudges people, kind of grabs people from below and then pulls them up, right? I think that, like, for what my plan is for 2026, I probably will not have a sales team for what I'll be doing. And I think about that because, honestly, it's just because, like, I have enough traffic that I don't feel like building a 200-person sales team, which is what I would probably have to do in order to handle the traffic that I have. And so I've just set the restriction for us as a company, like, we just won't have one, and we will figure out how to do it without. So I'll have tons of data on this next year, because that's going to be a big focus of mine, and I'm going to hold the line with that. as like a big priority. I do think all the benefits that we kind of talked about, which is like if people click buy, I do think they have higher intent. I do think they'll probably stay longer than people who are sold over the phone. I think you have fewer chargebacks, fewer refunds. I think reputational risk goes down. So I think there are a lot of benefits to that. But from a make money fast button, adding a sales team pretty much does that. And so if there is a world where you can get higher conversions without the work of managing a sales team, then I think everyone will jump onto that. The early signs that I've seen, because I look at a lot of businesses, I have seen a proliferation of people who are selling via automated chat, things like that. And what from what I've heard early on from the guys that I know who are doing decent numbers, the advantage of no sales team, you will convert a smaller percentage of people who see the offer, but 10 times as many people might see the offer. And that's because you don't have to deal with schedules, no-shows, getting to somebody, like all of that disappears. And so it's really it's going to be offer driven, to be fair, because like the offer is going to carry a lot of the weight, especially if you don't have a brand. But basically showing the offer to as many people as you can in general tends to get more. Also, I think the higher the qualifications of who you're looking for, the less some people want to hop on sales calls. So I think I do think there's some stuff in terms of culture that's moving. 20 years ago, answering phone calls was really normal. Now it's rude.
Yeah, that part's super interesting because me personally and everyone I talk to, it's like they don't want to get on a sales call. They just want to buy.
Yeah.
And you even bought your Tesla by clicking buy now.
Yeah.
That's like $100 and something grand. You just click buy now. You don't go to the dealership anymore. Yeah. You don't even talk to someone. Someone sends you a text. You're like, ugh, come on, just let me buy it. Yeah. But when they're more qualified. Yeah. So that's why these two things can kind of work together, I think. A more experienced business owner that is making more money probably just wants to see the price, see what they get, click buy. Yeah.
And that's a little bit of a preview of what I'll probably be doing next year. It's like, how can I make it for the right avatar? They just want to be able to make the decision in 2 minutes and be in or out. And so I'm going to basically orient towards that.
And I guess you also just experienced this with your launch. Yeah. Because there was no sales team really. Yeah. Okay.
And I think there's also there's a lot of limiting beliefs in the space of anything above $3,000 you have to have a sales team for. Fundamentally it's go down to physics. No, people are buying $170,000 cars online. So no, I don't think that's true. I do think that people need a certain amount of information in order to make a purchasing decision. And the amount of information required to make that decision depends on the qualification of the prospect. So if you hire a super highly qualified person and a low price relative to their qualification, they don't need a lot of information to make the decision. If you have a B2C customer and you're selling them a house, they need a lot of information to make that decision, or at least significantly more. And so functionally, brand serves as the proxy for lots of information prior to the purchase. And then they just need enough information about the offer in order to buy. And so that's where I think many of you guys, who here is organic as one of your primary ways of getting customers? Yeah, it's probably 80% of you guys are organic first. And I think that that's actually just going to continue to increase. It already is, 80%. But if we had asked this question 5 years ago, it probably would have been 10. A lot of things have changed. And so I think obviously if you just model what I'm doing, I'm investing super heavy in media, super heavy in brand. A16Z, which is a big VC firm, they've got 40 billion, under management. They're building a separate media house because they see the value of media and production and how it merges with commerce and business. And so I don't think this is going away. I only think it's going to get more aggressive, and that's why I'm getting really aggressive in my investment with it.
Very interesting.
Yeah. I got applause. And dashboards are out.
Yeah. They liked that more than they liked all the work I did. Well, that's pretty much all the points I've got. So now, what do you guys want to know? Well, first of all, was that any good? Was that helpful? Do you like it? Okay.
I'm looking at my notes for you.
Notes
okay.
For me?
Yeah, so one of the other things I wanted for our conversation just now, so one was the difference between qualification and price. I think that dichotomy, or at least managing that continuum, is super important to be clear about where do we sit on here? Is this a big purchase for our prospect? Or is it the price is one variable, but it's price in context of the qualification. And so that's one. The second is that the advantage of having no sales team, and to be clear, I'm not saying you should not have a sales team. I'm saying the advantage of having no sales team, and if you also adopt this kind of qualification perspective, is that you actually get, and this was a huge focus for me going into 2026 of what I'm going to do with Skool, is that I wanted all three components, at least if you break a business down into, attract, convert, deliver, or media, conversion event, and then fulfillment or delivery, whatever you want to say. I wanted each element to be infinitely scalable. And so we already have the kind of infinitely scalable media on the front end. So that's there. Many of you guys have that too. It's all about just doing more and better. But like fundamentally, you're getting huge leverage because you make one video and 1 million people see it, right? Then you have the two other components. You have the conversion event, and then you have the delivery of some sort. If you have services that you're delivering, that's going to be the bottleneck on the back end, right? Now, if you have a more qualification heavy, lower price relative to qualification, then the community itself can be more of the value, which is significantly more scalable. And so it's like, okay, we have kind of infinite scalability here, relatively infinite scalability here. So then the choke point is going to become the conversion, which is why, I kind of drew the line in the sand with my team, which is like, I know we can build sales teams. It's probably one of the things I'm very good at it. But I actually think it will limit ACQ to getting to, from a few $100 million a year to $1 billion a year in sales. I think that this has been something that I've been so good at has limited me from going from a few hundred to $1 billion. And so that's why we're putting a huge amount of resources towards like, we will crack this and we will get it right so that all three kind of wheels in the machine can all be infinitely scalable. And so that's kind of where I was thinking about from a scalability perspective. The other note that I'll have on the media side is that I think long form is going up in quality and short form is going down in quality. When I say quality, I mean like production quality. So some of you guys have seen short form just like talking your face like this, kind of like rant style authentic. I think in the world of AI, like the more the industry will index towards authenticity and truth, I think the market always finds truth. And so that type of stuff, because now like production quality is almost commoditized because AI can make everything super high quality. And so it's almost zigging back. And so I think like my stuff right now, I've already like it looks too produced for my shorts. And so I think I'm doing a big push for next year is like, we're switching that. The other two themes that I repeated last time that I'll just say like, we're still doing it is live and interactive. Those are things that AI will have a harder time doing. Like it's hard, like if you're live, right? And then also interactivity with the audience. That's something that is significantly more difficult for like AI to kind of reproduce. And so I see that as kind of the alpha, better returns than market in terms of return on effort, in terms of media. And on the long side, I kind of hit that already, which is kind of like, I think that one is fine to go heavier production and be more structured in how you're doing it. And so, but it's kind of the juxtaposition. It's like, don't be in the middle. It's either be like, have like a format that's awesome that people love, or it's super raw, all in podcast style, like this, basically. I think it's there. I think it's the poles. It's a barbell strategy. The middle is not where you want to be. And so that's at least how I think about longs versus shorts in kind of 2026 for media. Just wanted to get that out. Thanks, everyone. Got 2 applauses today. Thank you.
Do you guys have any questions? Yeah, Kirby's very pedantic about this. He doesn't want you to speak without the microphone.
Because then no one can hear.
Thank you. When you look at all the groups, what would you say is the most underutilized tool or feature about Skool?
What would be the most underutilized thing? I think, it's the basic things that contribute the most, really. It's like doing calls and having them on the calendar, like having some kind of call schedule, recording them and posting the recordings works so damn well. And it's like, if you're not doing that, that's clearly that's underutilized, right? But calls make the community so much tighter that they provide also a live element, which enriches the whole thing because the people you see live are now in the community in text form. And then the recordings, for sure. We've found that at least 10 times more people watch the recordings than the lives. Right?
Really interesting stat. 10 times.
Well, we're in that world now, right? It's not live TV anymore. Like everyone's, watching it when they want to watch it, basically. But the live thing is still good to do because a bunch of people still show up live. Honestly, that's probably the most underutilized, the highest value thing. And then I think just keeping it simple. Like if you're just driving traffic to the about page and you've just got a simple price and you're just doing a call, you might have some basic stuff in the classroom. Like you can do so well just with that. You don't need a lot of fancy stuff.
Can I ask one more? Do you guys see a correlation between churn and the price of the community? Like, is there a much higher churn on the people that are charging $47 versus the people that are charging $3,000? Is there a correlation?
Until I saw that damn group evolve. Like, I don't think such a thing exists. It's not like purely tied just to price, right?
Yeah, I would figure that, but is there somewhat of a correlation there?
So I think it's basically you have the price to value discrepancy for all the way, from $10, like if you don't use something, the value is zero, right? And at $10,000 a month for the right prospect, if they use it, it's worth, 20 times that. I think that we've seen in general, the higher the price, the churn is higher. And I think that's not because of the price. I think it's because people do not appropriately match the value, A, and B, the qualification of the prospect who should be able to buy that thing. And so I don't think there's an inherently like, if you want to lower the churn in the community, if you lower the price and keep everything the same, I can almost guarantee that churn will go down. The question is whether you make more money, which is another element of that. Because like even if you drop your price by 50% and churn drops by 20, that was a bad call, right? And so that's a bit of the trade. And so it's not even necessarily thinking about like let's make churn make churn king, because really is LTV is king. And so that's what we're really solving for. Churn is obviously a big multiplier on it. Now, we have to take all these variables affect all the way across, because it'll end up going all the way to EPC, which is earnings per click, right? Because if you get 100 clicks and you cut your price from $100 to $50, so if your churn goes down by 20%, I'm not going to get too granular here, but like if churn goes down by 20%, it's like, okay, that was a bad call. But it's like, but what if conversion on the page doubles? So everything is going to come down to earnings per click, because everybody here is driving traffic, and then you have this box that makes money. And so you just want to make sure that every input that goes into that box is worth as much as possible. And I'll just say personally, from having experimented a lot with different prices for different levels of services, whatever, the curve is way less extreme than you'd probably think. So we tend to obsess over our price, and I think there's intelligence to be deliberate about the pricing that you have. But if you, for example, when I did the launch, if I had done it at 9K instead of 6K, would I have made more money? I don't know. There's a whole bunch of other host of issues that come along with 9,000 versus 6,000 in terms of expectations, in terms of cards going through. There's just more than one variable. And so even if I increase the price by 50%, my conversion might have dropped by 40. And so it's not like, everyone who would have bought at 6 was also going to buy at 9. It's typically not that. And so it's like, maybe I'll make 10% more. Or 10% less. But the big thing is how good is the food? And I think that if the food is good and you're priced appropriately for the qualification of the prospect you have, you're going to make a lot of money. Whether the guy who's making $500,000 a month, if he were at $1,250 and he went to $1,350, is he going to make more money there? He probably wouldn't have, whatever that math is, 10%. He probably wouldn't make 7% more. He might make 2% more. And so what? And who cares? Because that's probably not going to be the thing that gives him the order of magnitude growth of going from 100,000 a month to 5 million a month.
And I will say that in B2B for a qualified business, so this guy Evolve is selling to e-com owners that are making more than 50 grand a month. $1,000 a month to them isn't a whole lot. But if you're selling to a consumer, $100 a month is huge, right? So consumers are very sensitive. The difference between $100 and $70, even honestly, $40 and $20 is massive.
$5 and $7.
Yeah. So to consumers, more than $100 is very expensive a month for a consumer, right? But for businesses, $1,000 a month, if they're qualified and making money, isn't a huge amount, right? Because you guys run businesses, spending $1,000 a month on a different service, you do it all the time, right? So yeah, it really depends, I think.
And to be clear, because people will take this, what Sam just said, out of context, selling a business opportunity to consumers is not B2B.
Mm-hmm.
To be clear. When we're talking B2B, it's somebody who already has a business, that already has customers, that's generating revenue. That's B2B. Just selling how to make money is not B2B. That's actually just super expensive consumer, which is why they have the most protection and complaints.
It makes a lot of sense. We have both, right? So we have a B2B school group, and then we have also a consumer. Consumer one, what I find myself doing, or we doing, it almost feels like we over deliver and still have a high churn, where the B2B, such a lower churn, we can charge $5,000, $7,000 that customer. Totally different game. So appreciate that.
Yo.
Oh, there you go.
There we go. All right. I asked Sam this earlier as well. You told me that I shouldn't listen to Alex's advice on this.
Okay.
But to explain the money model.
Thanks for framing it that way.
To explain the money model, we have a free group, and that teaches people AI automation with our own tool. That tool is doing 90K a month. And then we build a money model where we also upsell people into the paid community. That's why I'm here today. My question is, because I'm split between it being two different businesses, very different types of service delivery. So have I just built two businesses for myself that's going to split my attention from building software? Because I want to do a Becca. Or have I built a money model that is successful because it's making me 60K a month additional?
What was my advice that you said not to follow?
Well, you said that.
I asked you if there was a problem and you said no, and I said, so don't worry about it. And then you're like, but so-and-so said this and so-and-so said
In like a video that I did generically.
Like, we were just, because there's so many opinions on the internet, right? You made the problem by listening to all these opinions and then being like, but there's no problem. I thought we'd fixed this already.
Well, I want Alex's
You want
input.
to bring it back.
Am I distracting myself, or am I doing something that's like I can take the resources and reinvest it back into the software? Sorry, Sam.
So I'll mirror Sam's take on this, which is like, is there a problem to solve?
Well, kind of. Like I'd like to get the churn down and the software even better. I'm spending around an hour a day maybe on the Skool community on like service delivery responding. Is that because I want to sell it for 100 mil one day, and everyone else I'm competing against are not running a Skool community, but I could also reinvest it. So I'm kind of like split.
Well, if you look at Sam had a thing that he ran for a while and then eventually went all in on Skool. So, I mean, focus in general. If you were to summarize, I think David Senra, after like 400 interviews, the Founders Podcast, he summarized all 400 of those interviews into 2 words, which is focus and patience. And so I think that I stand by that, which is like you have to do one thing for an inordinate amount of time. What Sam referenced earlier of like, all I'm going to do is polish. A lot of people just want to move on to the next feature, the next feature, the next feature, but a lot of the quality comes from depth. I like to use the analogy of like coats of paint, is that like thinking, like next order level of thinking requires like the paint to dry and then you come back to it after having seen more things or watched a movie or like a different frame and you look at the problem again. And so it's like you can almost judge the quality of your solutions by the number of attack vectors that you approach the problem with. And it's not typical that you will have hit all the attack vectors on your first shot. And I think the reason that most people cannot achieve significant orders of magnitude outcomes is because they don't give that problem enough surface area because they're splitting their time. And so if we're thinking about like the quality of your thinking, you'll be able to solve it to, let's say, X degree on your own with your first pass thinking. But it's like the 5th and 8th pass of thinking that really unlocks everything. So like right now with the plant, just as an example, the thing that we're launching next year, I give myself one thing a year. That's all I can really do. And I probably have more resources than you do. And more talent on the team. And I don't say that as a slight. I'm just saying just to put context to it. And so right now, that plan, and so we do everything in written form at ECQ because that's like, I'm a writer and whatever, and Bezos did it and it works really well for us, is we have a memo culture. And so all decisions are written down in memos so that you can defend the thinking and like really think through everything. And so we're on memo 7 of that plan that we're going to do next year. And there's also a rollout one that's on memo 3. And probably by the time it launches, it'll be on memo like 11 and rollout will be like memo 6. If I were to look at the first thing, people probably would read that and nod along and say, that's a pretty good plan. But like the reason the $100 million launch did $100 million in 3 days was because that plan had been looked at for 2 years of coats of paint over and over and over again. Like, how do we control for this risk? How do we control for that risk? Something else goes wrong in somebody else's business. I was like, that could go wrong for me. And then I have to create contingencies. And so when I got the question of like, what would you have done differently about the launch? The answer is nothing, because everything went exactly to plan. And so I think that that level of thinking, if you say you want to have a 9-figure exit, that's what your competitors, that level of thinking is what your competitors are doing. And so I would protect that at all costs.
All right, because I've also been thinking that our power users are the ones that's spending the most with us.
Mm-hmm.
That's the ones that take the upsell.
Yeah.
So most of the feature requests, things that should be added,
are
also coming from the Skool group.
Let me pause you real quick. All right, fundamentally, you're not running 2 businesses. You have a software, and then you have some people who pay more within a community that gives you feedback on the software. That I don't think like.
Cool. Follow-up question: can you bundle that and sell it? Will Skool groups be a thing that can be a sellable asset?
Yes, just like an Amazon store can be a sellable asset. The thing that, so a school group being a sellable asset has nothing to do with it being a school group and everything to do with the fundamental economics of the business that underpin the revenue. And so the guy who has 80% annual retention on his customers and has super high gross margins and multiple acquisition channels in terms of people coming in the door, and it's not relying on him or her, that is absolutely a sellable business. But it's those features that underpin the economic model that are the thing that make the asset sellable versus something that isn't. But it has nothing to do with like, is a school community sellable? It's like saying, is a dry cleaner sellable? Well, good ones are and bad ones aren't. So
or
good
a
school
Shopify
communities.
store, like
Yeah.
almost everything in e-com's on Shopify.
Yeah.
It's not about, it's about the product and the customers and the reviews and the brand and the awareness and all of that. That's what makes a business. Yeah.
For sure. Thank you a lot. Helped.
Right. Well, first of all, thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing with us this space to share knowledge. So my question is, we already know that you guys have an insane machine of organic content, but how do you internally manage that entire content? I mean, how many times a day do you record yourself? Do you have how many editors, how many managers? How do you manage this entire content machine?
So right now I record once a week. And I just go live for basically like 3 or 4 hours. And I just do back-to-back YouTube videos while I'm live, and I interact with people in the chat in between. And then I take open Q&A at the end after I've done those videos, and that becomes clips. And so that's been really efficient for me. It's live, it's interactive, and I can do it in one sitting. And I think for me, my energy stays up way higher when I feel like I'm talking to people versus my 3 20-year-old guys behind the camera that I'm staring at while I'm talking about a video, which makes me want to kill myself. Yes, I stand by that. And so to answer your question, you probably just need more headcount in order to do what you want to do. So it's like I have a YouTube Shorts guy, I have a YouTube Long guy, I have a YouTube Long strategist, and I have a YouTube Long editor. I've got an Instagram guy, I have a LinkedIn guy, a Facebook guy, and so each one of them is in charge of that platform, and they're in charge of sourcing the content from the oodles and oodles of videos that I've recorded over however long and clipping that moment. And if it's written word, they can take any words that I've said and then just write it down. If it's like a LinkedIn post or something like, or Facebook, they need to put copy on it. But functionally, it's just like in the beginning, you'll have 1 or 2 guys that can do multiple, and then over time, specialization becomes important. Many of you probably do like shorts, and you're like, okay, I'm going to put this on YouTube Shorts, Instagram, and TikTok. But for anyone who's like done this long enough, you realize that all 3 platforms are very different. Like my YouTube Shorts do not perform on Instagram. My Instagram does not perform on TikTok. They have kind of fragmented, and kind of like the zeitgeist of the platform becomes increasingly important. And so that's why we have people per platform. So I think you should just think about it in terms of pre, peri, and post-production. So you have pre-production, which is where you're going to get the highest leverage in return on time, which is like, what's the idea? What's the idea? What's the packaging? What research do we have? What are the key points that we're going to talk about? The stories, the narratives, et cetera, visuals, all that's pre-production. The peri-production, like the actual production itself, that's pretty straightforward. I would just say like, do the thing that you feel like you are most energized by. Sam and I've had plenty of conversations about this, but like I have a pretty high pain tolerance. for doing stuff that I hate doing for long periods of time. I would recommend trying to not hate stuff that you do for long periods of time. And so that's why I'm shifting more towards this live format. I also think it's better for the future anyways. And then there's post-production, which that can be far more decentralized and typically cheaper. Because if you nail the pre-production and you're in the right state of mind during the actual like capturing of the content, the post, I don't want to say it takes care of itself, but there's significantly less work. So basically like an ounce of pre is worth a pound of post. And so all of the leverage is up here. And I would say that if I were to do an analysis of everyone's content strategy, that's where most of you guys are missing it, right? It's just like, I just like when the spirit strikes me, that's when I like go live. And I think there's a time and a place for feeling inspired, and you should totally capture those. But if you want to hit like volume of content, then you need a little bit more structure in terms of like, we're planning this stuff out. We're going to think about what we're going to say. Because I don't know about most of you guys, but like when someone leaves you a voice memo or a voice note and you're like, wow, this could have not been 4 minutes and could have been 30 seconds if they'd actually thought about what they were going to say. Most of y'all's content is the 4-minute voice memo. And if you just think about what you're going to say, you tend to say better stuff.
Right, perfect. I guess one follow-up question. So do you have like a daily quota of content or a monthly quota?
The guys. So each of the guys or gals has what they're expected to post and produce from the recorded content for that week. And so it's like we have this big chunk of content. We also have oodles and oodles. Like there's 30 hours they could take from the live from the launch, right? It's like, well, any moment from that 30 hours you can take and clip into 30 seconds. So I think having the most natural way for you to capture is important so that there's stuff to work with. And then once you have volume of content, then it's okay, how do I increase the quality of that, which is where the pre comes in.
All right, thank you.
And it sounds like you're trying to do one thing that does everything.
Yeah.
Which I think is the only way to be sane these days, because there's too many things.
Yeah.
Like there's shorts, there's so many platforms. Oh my God.
Yeah.
If you just do one thing and it can be reproduced for many things.
It's a great point. Like the maximized version of content production for most people will just kill you. Eventually you'll end up having to have a production house or media house, which is basically what we're doing. But the idea is like for the creator or whoever the talent is, whoever's getting captured on camera, it's like you want them to be in a good state of mind. Otherwise the content tends to suck. But the kind of the personalization of the content is going to happen in post. So we know that this moment will probably do well on TikTok, but it won't do well on YouTube. So that's where like the specialization of the people who are per platform comes into play. So I'm going to say whatever I'm going to say during my live, but the TikTok guy knows that this piece is going to do well there. Sometimes it's the same part that all three guys thinks is going to do well and they post them all three, but they're asynchronous.
Yeah, once again, I just want to say thank you guys. First, I'm living my dream right now and my whole business is on Skool. So, not long ago I was working a full-time job and now I'm literally doing just what I love. I didn't think I could make money off it, but Skool showed me the way, so I really appreciate that. My name's Rob, by the way. I am getting quite a lot of customers from YouTube, and I want to start really pushing that. I'm not posting at all enough. And it really interested me what you said about lives. I have a choice to make now where I spend my time making videos. What's the logic of spending 3 hours once a week on lives instead of planning a more sort of polished video in that 3 hours?
Well, my actual recording session is the same. So imagine you're going to do a formalized, polished recording session. I just go live. And so if you want to see me record polished YouTube, so like they take that live, and then if I do 3 YouTube videos in that live, those are 3 other polished posts that are going out. So it's not that those have stopped. It's just that I have a fourth asset that gets created where I get deeper involvement. I get parasocial. I get a free video that gives usually around 100,000 views without me doing anything. And then I still get the 3 videos plus my shorts. So it's just like, it creates another asset, number one. And number two, I think there's a different dynamic of live for the people who are live. Third, I think I show up better when I feel like there's people who are watching rather than just like the 3 20-year-olds behind the camera. Because in a real way, like probably one of the biggest belief shifts that I had around making content is that the people behind the camera matter a ton. And so some of my earlier content was a little bit more hardcore than I am in reality, because I was just yelling at the 20-year-olds behind the camera because I felt like I was talking to them because they were the only people in the room. If I had all women in the room, my content would have been significantly different, even though might have had the same packaging or same title or whatever, but like what I was going to say was different. And so the live has kind of like rounded off that edge for me, because I see girl, guy, person in Algeria, person here, person in Australia, person UK. And so it reminds me kind of like in real time that like there's a lot of different people who are consuming that. And so my examples are different. The energy that I bring to it is different. And then the last piece that I like about the lives, no, I think that's all. I had one more. I can't remember what it was, but those are.
Do you
those
also
are the
find there's something just about being live where it's like, oh, I'm live. Whereas the camera, if it's just rolling, you're like, ugh.
Yeah.
Because you're
Your
actually
energy.
live. You can't just be like, screw this.
Yeah.
Like I'm done. There's some, it gives me energy at least.
Yeah.
Unless I'm doing it live, I don't want to do it basically. Yeah.
I haven't seen your lives. Do you have questions on? Are people asking you questions while you get interrupted quite a lot?
No, so yes and no. So I don't think about it as interruptions. I think about it as them asking questions while I make a point that if I don't answer it, I'd lose that in the video.
So it adds more value.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
So I don't answer every question, but I'll keep an eye on it, and the guys can cut out like a gap of me reading the comments in between, and then I'll address it. So before we had this, the way I did the videos is I would go record the video, the guys would write down questions they had, and then they would ask the questions after, and then they would slice those in. So I'd be like, so I make my point. Like, so for example, if you're one of these people, which I didn't say at the moment, because they're like, well, what if this? I'm like, it's a good point. Didn't think about that. And so then I'll interject it, which then makes it a more complete video.
Do you go live on several platforms at the same time? Like
I just
TikTok,
do YouTube, but I'm sure I
But
could
you could,
do more.
right?
I just
Okay.
haven't.
Cool. I also just wanted to thank Andrew Kirby over there, because I heard about Skool from videos he made on YouTube. And
You know what you do is very similar to some of the Twitch streamers. Have you heard them talk about it?
Mm.
Yeah, the best ones are very good at making one live and then repurposing it for everything. Yeah.
The key was like, I still make my 3 YouTube videos a week or whatever from like, that happens in the live. So, but the thing that you'll find is that the live is totally okay with one, they want to see how you actually make these videos. They're just curious. And then number 2, if you say, hey guys, I'm going to do this intro real quick, and then I just do the intro, no one's like, oh, fuck this guy. I mean, because fundamentally, if the hook is interesting, it will make them want to watch more.
But it feels so raw and live.
Right.
That that's what happens on a Twitch stream, right? That's why, yeah.
sorry, I don't have the mic. You actually say, hang on guys, I'm doing an intro now.
Yeah. I was like, all right, so I'm going to do 3 videos today. First video is going to be on this, second video is on this, third video is on this. So I'll do a little Q&A, 5 minutes, and I'll be like, all right, I'm going to rip. So you're poor, and that sucks. And so we need to fix that. And here's 7 ways that I don't kill myself from saying this, right? And then I go through the 7 things or whatever.
I'm really loving the Skool community, and I've used a lot of other communities. And my question is more on the front end. So I know like the about page is really simple. And so even just after our launch, getting some feedback from different friends in the industry, they're like, oh no, you got to go back to traditional landing pages and then API everybody into the community. And already talking to some people here, they're like, oh no, we're performing better with the about page. So could you speak to that a little bit more? I'm guessing there's some strategy behind it and thoughts behind it. So I'm guessing it's the offer is what everything is. But if you could speak more directly to your thought process and even a couple things that are really working well, that would be really helpful.
I think that's a very natural reaction, first of all, from pretty much everyone, because it's the old way, right? And people are generally like, oh no, that won't work. Surely not. Surely I need to make my funnel and my 7,000 word sales letter, right? But then some people tried it, and then they're surprised that it works. A lot of people find it works better. I know Evelyn, yeah, she was like, it's not going to work, Sam. Like, you're an idiot, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, she wanted her order bumps. She wanted her everything, right? Because she basically wanted me to just become ClickFunnels. And I was like, just try it. And then she was like, but the Facebook tracking, and it just ended up working better. And the tracking is better than if you built it yourself. The analytics are certainly better now, right? And a lot of the time people find the conversion rate is better too. Like people have done A/B tests. That's not to say every single one is better, but in general, I think people are finding that. And then you can just try it, you know, like, yeah, but the way the platform's evolving too, it's like, we won't be able to tell you where your customers come from unless you use the About page, right? So if you want the best analytics the industry's ever had, you have to use the About page because that's how we know where the people come from, right? I also know that the more people that use Skool, the higher the conversion rate is. Our conversion rates are going up over time. And why that is they've already got an account. And a lot of them already have a credit card on file. Millions of people have a card on file and an account and are logged in. So when they click the link, they're already logged in, they've already got the account, they've already got the card. It's almost too easy. Have you seen how easy it is to spend money when you've got an account? It's pretty easy.
So is it because it is, I think we're in an era where it's exhausting with information now and so many landing pages and that's been around.
Yeah, do you like, and then another thing is, do you like reading those 6 out? Yeah.
So this is like simplifying to make a really good offer.
It forces you
and
to
it
get
gets
to
you
the point. It's like, just give me some damn bullet points, show me an image or a video. And if you can't do that, I don't know what you should do.
Think about, so everyone here is familiar with Amazon, right? Think about the Amazon sales page. They have the highest converting sales pages on the internet. And their sales page is several images, you get a video, you got reviews, you've got a handful of bullets about what the thing is. And then, of course, they're cross-selling other products and whatnot, but like that's kind of it. That's like the whole thing, and it's the highest converting. And so I think right now, what are we at, like 4-ish% or something? Mm-hmm. Which if you compare that to like an e-commerce store, which industry average is probably between 1% and 2%. So like we're significantly higher than that. The main thing that drives it even higher is that anybody who can one-click purchase, kind of like Amazon, if on average 30% of people who are coming into communities are coming from Skool, then like you're getting huge increases on that 30% in terms of conversion rate. And that's carrying the whole thing up. And the bigger Skool gets, the more that's just going to continue to kind of compound. So that's kind of the thinking behind it in terms of the simplicity. And if you look at other platforms, Airbnb, they're not 60, they're not pages and pages and scrolls and scrolls. It's super simple so people can make a decision. And long-term, what ends up happening is that the platform itself gains more and more trust. And the platform will be more trusted than any individual on the platform. And then that's how the tide rises for all boats.
So the thought process is get better at just simplifying the offer and running a bunch of tests until you get that to convert versus it goes a whole nother direction when you're trying to build landing pages.
Let me tell you something wild. So I don't even know if I want to share it. I'll share it anyways. So right now we did a small test. It was a very short period of time where I ran a test where I said, you can get all 3 of my books, physical copy, for $15 all in. So $5 a book, all the books are free. I've already paid for them, or people have already paid for them. You can just go ship them to yourself. My conversion rate on the page is 32% to purchase, click to purchase. And that's held like 20,000 purchases, like a lot of purchases. Like the offer still being killer still matters, right? And so like, I think that Skool in a lot of ways just forces you to focus on the few things that really drive the needle, and just thinking like, how can I, like the way that I think about bonuses and bullets, which I'd highly recommend thinking about it this way, which is that if I'm going to add a bullet, it takes up mental real estate for the prospect to make a decision. So I'm going to ask like a cost from them for them to read this bullet. So it better be worth it. And so I believe that buyers are single issue voters. They're single issue buyers. So it's cool to have many, many things, but what happens if you've watched like heat maps for purchasing behavior back in the old days of funnel stuff, is that people read, they hit the thing, and then they buy. And that's the game. And so every single bullet should, in and of itself, for the right buyer, be worth the entirety of the price times 2 or 3. And so if you think about that as the razor for like, what am I, like you can include other stuff in your community, but for it to take real estate of what you're going to say is inside or say why it's worth buying, that is where you put like so much effort into like the bullets. Like at the launch, for example, I had, playbooks that I was showing. Every playbook only had 3 bullets, and it was 30, 40 pages of stuff. And I got 3 bullets because I knew that there was no more time for me to even go in it. And even then it was a lot, right? And so it's like word concision and really more importantly, idea concision is what I think like making fewer bullets and making each bullet perfect.
Thanks again for doing this. You're absolutely changing lives. My question is about free communities. So I've got a pretty big free community about AI automation, and be curious to hear what you guys think about having those free communities be private or public.
You probably have some free public-private data that I don't.
If it's public, it will get indexed by Google. And so then if there's a lot of good content in there, and also LLMs, it'll get, it can read those too, right? So it'll get more traffic for sure, right? Also, people can see what's inside before they join. So in theory, more qualified people might join because they can essentially get a preview before they bother, right? Whereas private, you're like, oh, I'm forced to sign up before I get in. So I think there's advantages of it actually for a free community. Yeah, unless the topics that people are discussing in there are changed by the fact that it's public, right? Like some people might not want to have conversations about some things in a public setting, right? Yeah.
So it kind of seems like it goes back to what Alex was saying earlier about if it is public, you probably get more eyes on it, but if it's private, you probably get a better conversion. So trying to figure out.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. The conversion rate does tend to be higher for private, and you can see why, right? Because you don't have to join to read anything. Yeah, but the quality will probably be higher in a public.
All right. Well, yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yo, this question is for you, Hormozi. Since the beginning, I do social media. I do everything alone, but I'm doing good, like 2 million followers between YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. But I know it's important to have the right team. So since the beginning, I'm alone doing my content, everything. And I just have my friend that's helping me for setting up a school, etc. But I want to now work more than 30 minutes per day and try to recruit the right team.
It's a lot, though.
Yeah, it's a lot. I'm very lazy. I don't like to work, I like to do the less possible to make the most possible. But now I'm ready to work a little bit more. And
this is the perfect French person for like just this whole thing's amazing. Sorry, keep going.
So now I want to ask you, who I have to recruit? Like what kind of people I have to go?
Recruit's the right word.
To recruit in my team, close to me, to scale, to make maybe more views, more. Not more views, but to helping me for the content, give me ideas.
Maybe just try working for an hour instead of 30 minutes. Maybe you don't need to recruit anyone.
Yeah, you could 8x your output if you worked 4 hours a day.
Yeah, but
C'est trop.
No, for real, I really don't like to work.
No. No. So to answer the question, really. So when we think about building teams or even companies or revenue lines, whatever it is, like we think hire 1 to hire 10. And so the idea is like we spend a huge amount of time on trying to find a really, really good person who already has a network, who already knows the playbook, and they're going to try and apply what they've learned before into your business. So rather than trying to take people who are lower and then spending all the time to train them up, it's far more productive. Now it costs more, but it's faster. But you have the cash. Yeah, you have the cash.
But where?
I mean, you could whenever you want. I mean, sorry, use where?
LinkedIn? Like
LinkedIn. Yeah. You do outreach. I mean, also a really simple way is, so when I think about recruiting for a business, if I'm going to have that be an internal function or an external function, if it's a one-off role that I'm looking at, I'm willing to pay a headhunter a ton of money to go do that because they already have a network of people, a huge pool of people that they're keeping warm. And I'd rather just pay the money to get the problem solved and have really amazing candidates sent to me for a lot more. If I'm going to have a role that I'm going to have repeated, so for example, salespeople, editors, those are roles that, customer success, if you have that, like those are going to be roles that I have a lot of. And so those are things that I'm going to keep internal because it's core to how the business functions. And so when it's like niche expertise leader that I'm not going to hire a ton of, then I'll pay to. I'll also kick off internal stuff if I can, but I'll be more willing to pay for an outside recruiter.
Okay. So what's the name of the content strategist? Is that I need?
Yeah.
Other.
Yeah, director of content strategy.
Okay, all good. Thank you.
Yeah. Glad I can help.
So,
and you can space the work between 3 or 4 days, so it's 30 minutes each, you know. It might take you 2 hours, so like 4 days to do. Yeah.
I'm torn between a pay group and a free group. And as soon as the free group added some tiers, the upsells just shot up. So I'm kind of...
They shot up as in they went up?
Yeah,
That's
straight away. And even though it's quite hard to find, upgrade button, please. But I'm feeling sure.
It really is quite hard to find. He's got a very good point.
Yeah. Well, I just created a little bit.ly link and put tiers and levels so that,
Okay.
and everything I do is drop it there. And it's just the numbers are shot up. So I'm feeling, should I just let this paid group go? It's just about 10K. And I let it go and then just keep the tiers within the free. So, but before I do that, I want to know, is there going to be much more focus on tiers in the future for it to evolve, or should I just stay with a paid group?
Well, I'll definitely make tiers better. I know that it's far from perfect.
That's great.
It's new and it confused the shit out of a lot of people. And I have a lot of work to do, basically, which is why I don't want to ship anything for like a long time. I just want to perfect what we've already got, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll 100% get a lot better. But whether you should ditch your paid community, I mean, that would be kind of reckless until this one makes the same, or at least it looks like it's quickly going to make the same or more, right?
Yeah, it's just getting a little bit confusing for the people in it. And I feel if, for instance, I could just have, if there were going to be posts and I could make a post and say, okay, this post, only people in premium or VIP would get to view that post, then I'd be all in on just the free with tiers.
How far away is your freemium group in MRR from the paid one?
In what sense?
Like dollars wise, like how close is it?
Oh yeah, one's just 2,000, but I didn't even do anything with it. It just popped up really quickly. Whereas
you actively try really hard for 10 and then 2 just
Yeah.
appeared. How long is it taking to get to 10 in the other one?
Yeah,
Okay. How long did it take to get to 2 in the freemium?
2 weeks.
Chill.
I'd say if you can get to 4.
Yeah. The other thing, because I'm guessing you're trying to just consolidate attention so there's
Yeah.
only one group. So one thing that Sam said on the Skool News, which I think is a really important point, is like, let's see how everything goes. Like, of course, there's many people who've asked for that specific feature, but the question is like, it's very easy to think of ideas of things we could build versus there are far more limited problems that need to be solved. So said differently, are freemium groups struggling to get upgrades, which clearly they're not, but are freemium groups struggling to get upgrades with tiers because the posts are not gated? It turns out that doesn't seem to be something, for right now, and at least in your experience, it doesn't seem to be something that's preventing people. If anything, it hasn't affected them at all. And there's probably a strong counter argument, which is that everyone being able to see everything allows, basically there's way more advertising that's occurring to the free members because people who are paying are talking about it in the free community rather than removing those people who are the highest, most engaged members and putting them somewhere else and then no one really hearing about it unless you promote it. It's so much easier to just let all the other people promote for you and then they just naturally ascend. And I'll bet you the churn on those $2,000 a month is probably lower than the 10. So from a transition perspective, if you were to take the position that like, hey, we're converting a higher percentage and it's happening faster in my freemium group, all you have to do is draw the line and know what month that it's going to pass. But you could just say, cool. And a lot of people do this with like when they transition from dead Facebook groups over to Skool is they say, hey, I'm turning off posts. Everybody just transfer over. I'll give you guys 30 days or whatever to make the transition. And how many people do you have in the $10,000 a month group?
90.
Yeah. So I mean like 90 people, you could just like message them and just say, hey, I'll get you like sign up over here starting next month because I'm going to be posting all the stuff there. And you probably would be able to save 80, 90% if you just want to consolidate the attention.
Yeah, I think that's the key thing of having the attention. And what you just said there is there are guys talking in the private group talking about the live academy once a week that they get access to that other people don't get access to, but they're not hearing the conversations. But as soon as they start talking, we covered this, we were talking about that, then everybody else, oh, what's this? I want to be part of that as well.
Can I tell you something? So when I ran Gym Launch many years ago, I did not want to have separate calls because I didn't want to do more calls, right? 30 minutes a day. And so I had Gym Launch customers and Legacy, which was our upsell, which was 42,000 a year versus 16, again, B2B. I had all of them on the same calls. And so I would do Q&A and then someone from Legacy would ask a question that people in Launch were like, wait, what's that? I'm like, oh, it's just something for Legacy. And then the people who were in Legacy were like, dude, it's sick. It's awesome. You should totally if you're not in it, go now. and then people would just buy. And so it ended up being every day, because I did back in the day, it was every day that I did this, but 5 days a week I would do a live call, and anybody could ask questions. And that's how I didn't have a support team. I just said, I'll take all support questions. But that ended up being kind of a de facto sales mechanism, because people could ask who are at the higher tier about those things, and then it would just naturally ascend people. We did 2,000. You're doing 1,000 a week in growth on the free group, and it took you a year to get to 10,000. So if we just did simple math and projections, you'll probably make more money in the freemium group. And this is not being like for anybody who, like, if you have different stats, don't like take this as one, blanket statement. But for you, 2,000 in 2 weeks versus 10,000 in a year. Yeah, I mean, draw the line and then just transition over.
Do the people in the paid private group post it all in this freemium one?
Not as much, no.
Okay.
They haven't been. They kind of like that little bubble over
I see.
there. But as soon as they started posting, and then I told them we were going to be winding that down, those posts started being a catalytic, like a catalytic to growth, basically, for the existing.
Is that
members.
what was making people upgrade to the paid in the freemium? Is the people from the private group starting to have discussions in the free group?
Yeah, it's because basically the only difference is that they get access to live training and discussions, and now they're referencing those discussions.
So it sounds like
the
mixing
depth.
them might be working.
Ah, shit.
Yeah. I mean,
So
honestly,
let's definitely separate them.
yeah. Yeah. I mean,
I'm
like,
joking.
it's okay. You had these two, the new feature came out, and then it ended up helping you and making you more money. Great. And so to the whole, like, I want to gate this thing, it's like, why? It's a great sales tool. And it clearly isn't preventing people from buying.
My theory and feeling is that if we do it right, I think it can work better. But we have to try it. If it doesn't, I won't be, I'll accept it and then allow people to do the segmenting. But I don't think that's the answer. And I think we'll find out. I want to find out.
We're also acting against our economic interest by even saying this, just to be clear. So, like, if we make more money if you have two communities. So we're just trying to help, like,
An extra $9.
yeah, that's right. Big baller, shot caller. So
I mean, you come from the fitness club market, so did I in the UK, and I always found it's a little bit like if I've got a member and there's a special extra or a cheaper membership for low usage area, but you can't use this gym, you've got to go into the gym next door. I like them all to use the same, but they're all just being exposed. Oh, there's a class going on there. But that's an extra membership level.
they got to see it though, right? That's the key. Like, we would always walk people through the semi-private area to get to the group area. So it's like, oh no, this Cadillac is not for you. You can go drive the Honda over there. They're like, but I want to. It's like, oh well, you want to talk to somebody, and then then the upgrade happens.
Yeah, I mean, if I had one feature request, it would be able to put the videos in there that we link to those live trainings, but when they go to click on it, they can't watch it until they upgrade their tier.
Yeah.
And that would be for me the most.
I think we'll
natural
start with
upsell.
like the most basic thing, which is like a good upgrade button, right? Like, yeah, because that's a definite, it's a good win. Hard to miss with it, honestly.
I'm happy with that. Thank you.
Yeah. And then there's some other ideas I've got, but I don't want to say it on this recording. So we can talk about it later today.
Yeah.
But I think you'll be interested in them because I've been thinking about it a lot.
We'll always solve for what makes everybody in the community the most money and provides the best community.
Cool. I figured I would come back to the question that you asked earlier. There's you had asked what were like some of the underutilized things on Skool. And two things that I've seen that are like massively underutilized. I don't know if Sam will agree with this first one, but first of all, categories. Because
we were having a debate yesterday whether they were necessary or not. So
yeah. But you can't argue with, like, it gives you a flavor of what the community is for. You literally have to pick one before you make a post. And so at a glance, even if you're new or if you're coming back in for a while, you get like a really good understanding of like the parameters you can interact with. So that's one. But more importantly than that I still see get way underused is pin rotations. Because when you're like crafting the culture within your community, like, yeah, sure, you want to make shout outs about what you think is important, but when you're finding something that's like really positive, like someone speaking as you want them to, and you like support them by pinning that post, it reinforces the positive, and then you kind of like ignore the negative, and it makes culture happen really freaking fast. So I just want to offer those.
Yeah, I think a good way to think about it is model citizens.
Yeah.
So like you want to be clear on your about page with what type of person you want and what this is about. But then when you find the model citizens, the people that you wish the whole community were just like that, pinning them and rotating pinned examples, not just your announcements. Like one announcement from you is probably fine, but then pin a great example. It does so much for shaping the culture because everyone's like, oh, that's what we need to be like. And if we be like that, we might get pinned. And it makes a huge difference. Yeah.
And I think to your point about like rotating them. So once you have the model citizen, it's just like find another one every 2 days that you can just keep cycling. So it keeps it fresh and new.
It's cool too. Like if you have a lot of engagement, like as your community grows, a lot of communities get to the point where they'll rotate twice a day. So there's actually boosted engagement because they're like, oh, if I didn't get it this time, well, maybe I'll get it later today. And they'll either keep commenting on their existing post or make a new one. So it drives engagement like mad for sure.
Okay, I think it's me. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to say thanks so much. I have a practice in, of all places, South Louisiana, and we help people from all over the world with the best alternative methods in the world. And Skool has allowed me to help people all over the world at home. And so in that capacity, we have this community that we developed, and it's called Body Chargers. And in the community, my question is, should we have individual groups for individual conditions? Because it's somewhat confusing to people when they get there and it's overwhelming. There's so much information on what to do with technology for home. I always tell people we need tech in today's world to deal with tech at home. And it's confusing as to what condition they have and what to do when we have a whole model in one. So should we have individual health conditions and different groups to make you more money? I guess is the question.
Maybe. I need to know a lot more information. We should talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't want to give you just some shitty answer.
Sure.
Yeah.
I
But
appreciate
it maybe not. It depends like how big it is. It depends what problems are currently existing.
Yeah. Managing like 5 groups would suck.
Yeah.
Like
It
it would take. Yeah, I wonder if there's an 80-20 solution. You know, maybe the categories get used differently. Like
when you said qualifications earlier, it just keeps ringing in my ear. You know, if you want to go to the Parkinson's group, if you want to go to the autoimmune group, if you want to go to the concussions group.
Is the solution for each of those different?
Not necessarily. I mean, there's some tweaks, but there's an overall general concept that they have to be following. And they're just oversold online by people that don't have practices, haven't done it for 27 years, haven't figured it out. And so they're somewhat skeptical, but yet we're proving that they're not. So
It's a tough one. I mean, segmented messaging from a conversion perspective will do better. Actually, do we have results on our segmentation stuff?
What, the personalized pages?
Yeah.
Did worse.
Did worse?
Yeah.
There you go.
Just the data you were looking for.
Yeah, that's exactly just the data I was looking for. So yeah, so it might convert worse. It's like I've seen some that just like blow it out of the water. Because I have a different example where I know I'd say a buddy is a super SEO guy, and so he does logistics shipping, and he's got 400 different individual pages, per thing. Obviously that's a lot of work, but that's, the game he's in, and his conversion rates are significantly higher. We've also run tests and it wasn't higher. So there's a huge change from is it worth the squeeze? Like maybe even if it were better, is it worth having 5 communities? I don't know.
And we'd want to look at all of your current stats, like your churn, your conversion rate, because we've got to assess, is this thing working well? Do people like it? Do you like it? Maybe we shouldn't mess with it, or is it not? So let's do it properly. We've got enough time today. Yeah.
This is it's a good meta topic though, which is like features versus bugs. So one of the things that I think is more common, the smaller the business owner, the more they want to tinker and tweak. And there's a place for that, because when you start out, nothing works and then something does, and you got there through tinkering. So you get reinforced for basically fucking with shit over and over again. But once something works, to use a different analogy for this, if there was a mess of bricks on the floor here and we were to hit random and then the bricks reassemble into another mess, we can keep hitting random a lot of times, and very rarely will a building appear, right? So once something actually does work, the likelihood that changing one of those bricks turns into a better building is usually not likely. It usually creates a worse building or another mess. And so one of the fastest ways to solve problems is to decide it's not a problem. And so I think a lot of times we'll tinker with things rather than focusing on like, what is the order of magnitude problem that I should be solving, but I'm not. And so like, that's where you get your 10x, 100x improvements in the business rather than the incremental returns. And there's nothing wrong with having, you know, the increments and improving things. But if you're like, how do I get this to 100 times the people? You probably wouldn't worry about this at all. And so I think it's like, why don't we, like, that's where I probably I try and attack that problem. Why don't 100 times more people know about me? And is any of the things that I'm tinkering in the group the thing that's preventing that? If not, then that's where I'm going to focus my attention.
Hi. Okay. You mentioned tiers. So I was wondering, like, when I started my community, I thought like the majority of value is going to come from the courses and filling it up and stuff like that. But after talking to the users, the community is like the ultimate factor. They always get surprised. They're like, I don't know. It's just like, it's the thing that keeps them in for. You're laughing, so I'm like getting.
No, like it's. I mean, this was like the whole catalyst for why Skool. Like, I mean, Sam had his whole story about seeing that everybody, you know, would log in, watch a couple things, but then all of their engagement was inside of the community. So
yeah. So I was wondering, like, are there plans to make like tiers access different parts of categories? So, for example, we have beginners and. Okay, so we have beginners that can access, you know, the beginner level stuff. They get upgraded, they get to intermediate stuff. They upgrade again, they get to go to advanced stuff. So, like, are there plans for that?
Maybe.
Yeah.
You can do that?
Yeah.
But I'm talking about community specifically. I'm not talking about the classroom. I mean, like.
Yeah. That's what I think they were just asking about that.
Good use of my question then.
Well, the issue is like, fundamentally, what problem are we solving? Is it that, like, because the only reason to unlock a feature is like, is it going to improve the experience, which we can measure, like, does it decrease churn? Does it increase ascensions? Right? And so, I mean, we just talked about some earlier data. Is like, in 2 weeks, they had more ascensions than they normally do. And it was without having that separation. That was kind of the whole discussion earlier. So,
Are you using tiers right now?
Not yet.
So you can either use them and see how it goes, or wait until the people that are using them see how it goes. And then I'm going to see how it goes. And then we'll make a decision.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't want to. My theory is that it might work better without without segmenting everything.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll find out for certain. It's just going to take a bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that one's going to be one of those, like, can we have DM threads questions that will continue to happen forever.
Can you hear me? Hello, hello. So congrats on the launch and looking forward to the attribution feature. One question on removing a sales team and leveraging brand is it takes a long time to build a brand, of course. So what priority would you put on building that brand so that you can later on leverage it to replace a sales team?
I mean, you could have a brand and a sales team and make a bunch of money too. Like, do you have a sales team right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say like stop having a sales team. I think that will probably make you less money in the short term, for sure. I'm basically thinking about this as a different business altogether. Like, I'm not taking my sales team and letting them go. I still have a sales team, just in a different business. So I'm not saying like you're all disappearing. It's just like, here, I know there's so much more leverage in terms of the number of eyeballs that I have access to, that it's like, I couldn't have done the launch if I said everybody has to talk to a phone person in order to make this purchase. It would have literally been impossible. I had 400 people on the phones, 24 hours for the 3 days of the event. We had 750 people who got trained up. It's insane, right? In order to do that. And the phones were responsible for like 12 million. It's just like, it's the scale that's there, like, it's just impossible to account for. So again, like, what I say for me isn't necessarily applicable for everyone. But no, I don't think that you should just like kill your phone team. I do think that if you know you're going to invest in the brand long term, the best day to do it was 20 years ago. So second best day is now.
You talked about putting more work into pre rather than post.
Yeah.
If my brand is super small, so would you rather do more volume than put in more work on pre?
It's going to be an accordion. So it's kind of like the quantity quality thing. So anybody who's made content for an extended period of time, a typical process is like, I have to make something. And then when you make something, if you make more than something, you get more than something. And then at some point you make so much something that you're like, man, I made 5 somethings and one of these somethings was responsible for like 80% of my output. You think, man, if I just took the amount of effort I take to make that one and I made it only 2 of them, I'd still get more views. And so then you cut from your many somethings to a few somethings that are better. And all of a sudden your production is the same in terms of output. And then you get better and better at doing that. And you're like, man, I've got 2 somethings. I'll bet you I could get to 5 something of that quality. And then you get to 5 something of that quality. And then one of those ones is even better. And you're like, oh, what did I do there? What if I just spent the time to make just the 2 somethings at that quality? And then you cut it back down. And so it's kind of an accordion that goes back and forth. Otherwise, you become a news channel and you have a post every hour. And there are for sure channels that do that and they maximize. But their advantage, like almost everybody who does like the extraordinarily high volume, is news because the content is made for them. But the long tail on that content is like 0 because after the week's over, the day's over, it just becomes irrelevant. And so if you're are you an educator?
Yeah.
Yeah. So with education, it's going to be the quality almost more than anything, but you don't even know what quality is because you haven't done enough volume, enough repetitions to figure out like what works and what doesn't. And so I tend to prescribe volume as the first thing to do because you have this big data set that you can actually do something with. Until you have that data to look at of like, I did 100 videos, these 10 did better than the other 90, what was different? Until you get to there, it's very hard to like learn anything. So that's why I just tell people to do more in the beginning.
Would you still be super specific on the topics and everything to one specific avatar, or would you go broader at the beginning to try to grow faster?
So if we use the top, the Evolve school, like he's very specific about who he talks to. I think that the more specific you are about the avatar that you serve, you will not get the level of growth, but it can absolutely translate into income. So I wouldn't be super obsessed with that. There's the number of like $1 million businesses that I've seen that have less than 5,000 followers and still do everything organic. Like I've run out of fingers. There's a lot of people who just focus. Like the classic example that I give is there was a lady that I met who talked about how to bill insurance as an RN. That was her niche, was just specifically billing practices for RDs, registered dietitians, for insurance. That's all of her content. And her content, like on average, got like 28 likes per thing. And she was doing like $1 million plus a year, 90 whatever % margins in that business because guess who sees it? RDs who are billing insurance. Because right now, interest media rather than social media is kind of ruling the world. And so Andromeda had a big update in terms of being more specific about ads. And I would imagine, I'm guessing, that the content engine is just as good, if not better, at figuring out exactly who you are. And so it already knows. The algorithm knows who your customers are. And the more you make it not about that, the less likely it is that they're going to see it. So I think the big day one decision that you have to make if you're making content is, am I making a personal brand that I'm going to keep forever? Or am I making media to drive to a specific business? And so I think if you make that decision, if you're going personal brand, I'm going to keep it forever, then you're going to sprinkle in, ultimately the brand will end up being ideally a perfect reflection of you. Like when people meet you in real life, there should be no surprise. They should know that, oh, Alex is into fitness. He also has some dark philosophy. He also likes business stuff, right? And he tends to be a little bit hardcore, right? But I also have a weird sense of humor. And so like, that's me, right? And so do all of those things feed business? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But like, that's me. And I can do that for a long time. If I was like, I just have to make stuff for business, then I think it would pigeonhole the content, but it still for sure would drive more revenue. Like the highest grossing video that we have on that's like driven the most sales for us has like 180,000 views, which is for my channel, half of my channel average. But it's a very specific video about how you could train a business. And so is that like, what's the answer? I think you decide whether you want to keep it forever or it's just a business thing, and then you can cater your content to that.
And with no longer having a sales team or considering that in the future for you, what kind of mechanism do you see yourself using? More of like a one-to-many, similar to the...
It'll probably be a combination of things. It'll probably be a combination of video sales letter, probably some sort of text component. I don't know. Like I don't even want to answer it because I haven't figured it out yet, but I will. When I figure it out, I'll let you know.
What's the most common blind spot communities around 10 to 25K have that takes them way too long to realize?
I was trying to find you.
Yeah, I was
sorry.
I was
Yeah,
like,
I'll ask again.
Can you say that?
Yeah. What's the most common blind spot communities that do 10 to 25K a month have that takes them way too long to realize?
It's an interesting question, especially since I couldn't find you. What's the most common blind spot? And I'm like looking all over the place. Talent, their own talent. It's always that. Like if you get that right, you can almost fuck up everything else and be fine. Like if someone's good at something, then if they make a video, it'll probably crush. I think that's what everyone misses with Hormozi, is that he did business for like 10 years before he made a video on the internet about business, right? But just, I like to make it very simple. It's like if you're a skateboarder and you want to blow up, do you make a video talking about skating or do you go skate?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So I think that's, right, you can't really miss. And then the other stuff, if you get it right later, like get a good editor, make some shorts, you know, it'll pop even more. So you still can take advantage of these other things. But I think most people obsess about the like little tactics and they're missing the actual thing. Have you seen that?
I mean, it was a great answer. That's the whole thing. So I was thinking about this because I was writing tweets yesterday in my 30 minutes a day that I work. And I was trying to think about like, how do you quantify X factor? Because there's for sure a thing, like what gives someone like that je ne sais quoi, right? I know, I'm full of it today. And I actually think that it's depth across multiple domains that do not typically sit together. So it's like, if we think about like Joe Rogan as an example, politics aside, like why does he amass so much interest, right? Because he's interesting. So like he has some X factor. He's super deep in MMA. He's also an exceptional comedian. He also really deep in like biohacking and, you know, health and all of that jazz. Really likes space and aliens. And then now also has his political stuff that he's into. But he's really deep in all of them. And so I think that like if you have somebody who, like most people take their personalities off the shelf, right? They're like, oh, I'm going to wear flannels and trucker hats and, you know, drink some sort of brewed beer, and I will probably have conservative values, and this is going to be my playbook for life. When you meet that guy, in 5 seconds, you're like, I get it. Not very interesting. It's a pattern match. It's like, oh, this guy can't, like he bought his personality off the shelf. He didn't want to think about it for himself. And so he just everything. Now, if that same guy all of a sudden was like super like pro gay rights, just throwing it out there, not to be political, but I'm just saying like that would be not, you wouldn't have expected that. And then if that guy has some sort of like philosophical slant that shows a lot of depth of thinking that you wouldn't have expected, you're like, huh, I didn't expect that. And so all of a sudden your brain goes, huh, this does not match the pattern that I expected. I was not able to predict this. And then as a result, I have to pay attention to update my schema of how the world works, or at least how this individual works. And so in thinking about that, it's the number of skills that you can demonstrate depth within that don't typically go together. And I think that that tends to be an indication of somebody who has high agency. So they're able to make up their mind on their own independently. And when you do end up thinking for yourself, you end up being very unique because you're not, oh, I'm a Republican and they have these list of things that they believe in, or I'm a Democrat and I have these list of things that I believe in, or I'm a country guy, or I'm a musician, or I'm a whatever, and I will then follow all of these other things. It's the, it's the guy who's, well, I'll just leave it there. You get the idea. I'll stop.
Great, thank you.
And if you have talent and that, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
So my question is in regards to the correlation between content and context, right? So we said again, the whole big thing here is that there's a community aspect. In terms of content, so whatever courses and all that stuff, most or many communities have a starting point of a quick win, 10 days to this, 90 days to that, 10 kilograms and whatever. So if I'm looking at retention after that, again, it comes back to your question of, oh, I have to put more courses in, more content. What would you say can drive more retention on a long term where the base of the content is framed in a time frame?
I think you're talking about like promises.
No, so like I have a community, 90 days to lose 10.
It's like what happens on the 91st day.
Exactly. Like how to actually keep people
Well, it
inside.
converts better, right? But it will also have higher churn.
It's a trade. The more you promise, the lower the bar for saying yes, but also they have less reason to say yes, and so they have more reason to say no, which means they'll leave. It's a trade. Like the perfect world is one where you say, I will promise you absolutely nothing. And you should buy it only if you're this very rare type of person, and it may or may not suck. And if someone buys at that point, the likelihood that they churn is significantly lower than like, I'm going to save your life in 30 days. So the expectation is significantly lower. That's just a trade that you make.
Yeah. And in regards to the community being a factor, like, okay, after these 90 days, the community is what.
So two things. So one is the qualifications piece that I was referencing earlier. Are they staying for other people? Or are they staying for you? If they have to stay for you, then you always have to be generating stuff. If they stay for everyone else already does the generation on their own. The other piece, shoot, I had it. So it's making sure that whatever problem you solved with the first 90 days, there's probably a clear problem that when that is solved when that first problem is solved, you create another problem. Like all problems lead to more problems. And so as long as you're clear about what that new problem is, that becomes continuity. And so the classic example that I've given that I've seen, the people who have phenomenally low churn inside of Skool that are not kind of quote, that are not high qualification, but are actually high on the delivery themselves, are people who have consumable deliverables. So it expires functionally. So it's like the one-time thing, the 90-day thing, the course or whatever it is that you get to convert people on the front end, ideally should be sort of like a black box of like, this is a system to lose weight, to get your marriage fixed, to make money, whatever it is, right? This is the system. But the best in terms of decreasing churn and increasing stick is going to be, I give you this thing one time, you learned it. But in order to run that machine, you still need to buy ink from me, right? You still need to get the hot list of wholesaling, real estate addresses that are new this week. And next week, they're going to be different. And the 3D printing community, which we saw, like he had 2 or 3% churn monthly. And it was because he would find his own team would scrape and figure out what are the top ranked 3D printing products that are selling right now. And then he had already taught everyone how to do the 3D printing. And so they stayed so that they could get whatever that news is. So it's like, how can I have that blend of education and news functionally, that consumable? And then that's if you're in a broadcast kind of community where you're the one providing the value and the deliverable, that is what I've seen like works really, really well. If it's not, hey, everybody in here provides value for each other.
Hello, you guys hear me? Okay. My name is Joel. I'm part of the Spanish speaker market. And I want to thank you guys. You guys changed my life. I moved from Hallmark, and it's been 4 months on Skool. We already passed $100,000 a month. I'm like, it's insane.
It's working for somebody.
Yeah.
How's your conversion rate?
Well, right now we're doing higher than 5%.
What the fuck?
Yeah, organic.
Yeah, we need to talk. All of you guys in Latin America.
I've never done wrong ads. It's organic. I don't even know how to do ads. So I got quick questions for you guys. 3 questions. Number one, free trials. I hate free trials, but I mean, we've been actually doing it for the past 7 days. We've been getting 40 customers a day. We don't know what the number is going to be, but I hate to see my MRR going down instead of going up. But what do you guys think about free trials? Should I continue? Or?
Well, I like them when they work.
Yeah. That's a
and
math
I
problem.
don't when they don't.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it seems like you just need to wait 7 more days and you'll have an answer.
Okay.
So just remember that when there's free trials, there are 2 conversion points instead of 1. And so you'll have an increase in conversion on the landing page, and then there's another conversion that it's going to decrease by because you have the conversion into paid, right? And then the third vector, not to get this too complicated, is that people post free trial, I'm pretty sure we have the data on this, like post free trial, the churn is lower because they kind of already tried it out. Whereas when you make the first purchase and then you get in, the churn will be higher in that first month for non free trial versus free trial. So you basically just have to put an Excel sheet together that says like number of people, like it goes back to earnings per click, like I was saying. if I get 100 clicks to this page, this percentage of people take a trial, this percentage of people turn into paying customers, and the LTV of that customer with the newer churn is X. In the other example, you already have data on this. We had 100 clicks, we get this many people who convert, and the churn on that is this. And then just reverse it to which of these numbers at the top is higher. So it's just math. And you probably need to wait 7 days.
All right, all right. So should I stay for like the entire month to wait, to get at least the data for 1 month?
Well, if you back out now, you'll never know, right?
That's right.
And then you'll probably wonder.
Because you can always go back, right? Like this thing is like, you can always go back. If you find out, then you're like, great. And you never need to think about it again. Yeah, so if you had a 4X increase in conversions, we just need to make sure that, like, let's say your conversion on the back is 50%, then you still doubled your sales. And those customers are probably going to stick longer.
Yeah, but I hate when I see them that they join the free trials and they cancel right away. Some of them I kick them out manually. Like,
we just have to do the math. If half of them cancel, you still doubled. If 2/3 of them cancel, you're still up by 50%. If 3/4 of them cancel, you're net even. Now, the only caveat, not to add more complexity to this, is part of the reason that you probably got more people to convert is that when you say, hey, you can start my group for free versus, hey, go buy my group, you will get more people to click over. So again, I'm not trying to like earnings per click is there, but there's also the other side of it, which is what's the cost per click. Now, you're organic and you're probably not thinking about cost, but functionally, it's like if you make a piece of content and you get 3 times as many clicks from that because your CTA is free, then that also factors into it. And I wish I could give you like, just do free trials, but it's just math.
Yeah, when we're at Skool HQ, talk to me and I'll pull up your stats on my computer. I want to have a look. Because especially how you're crushing it in Latin America.
Yeah, I started Skool beginning of the year. And then we have a rough month and everything. And then we decided, I was doing only YouTube. And then my team decided to do Instagram as well. And then in 4 months, we went from 20 something to 100,000 in Skool. And I mean, community likes Skool a lot. Like, even my wife asked me, what is Skool? And I say, it's just like Facebook for people who want my money. But it looked like Facebook, but I mean, like, it's like my clients are erasing the app from Facebook and using the Skool. Like, it's a lot better.
Well, congrats on going from 20 to 100,000.
Thanks. And I have, thank you guys. I have another question about affiliates. Will you guys consider about doing, instead of 1 level of affiliate, 2, 3 levels of affiliate?
You can't legally in the US. Okay. I didn't mean to answer but like, it becomes so there are
MLM, literally.
Yeah, it's literally an MLM. Yeah. So you're limited legally.
Okay, that's good. And the last question is about recurring payments. That's my market right there. Most of my customers are from Colombia, Mexico. Some of their banks, when the card is debit card instead of credit card, the first payment goes through, but the recurring payment does not go through. We've been facing that a lot. So is something that you guys could do to help us with that?
And the currency will definitely help. I think that's part of it. But are they used to paying with cards or another payment method?
Well, card.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, like we're aware of it. Let's talk about it today too. Because I'm actively working on this right now, by the way. So I'm very interested. But the currency, if you charge in local currency, authorization rates go up, right? That's part of it. But there's some other details too. So we're aware of it. We're definitely going to make it better. Let's talk about it. It's amazing that it's not in their language. It's not in their currency. It has all these issues, and yet still. So imagine what it will do if it didn't have those problems.
When it comes to qualifying, obviously that happens on the front end of like when somebody joins. What do you do for the people that are already in, have been in for a while, and were maybe not qualified properly?
Well, I think it's a question of like, do you want to still serve them? Like, are they paying? Do you want to still serve them?
I feel like this is a question I go back and forth on. Like I would like to, but then I look at like the overall group and I'm like, it definitely hinders. Like they take up a lot more time on the group calls. They maybe don't apply the things that other people are applying.
Right now, there's probably like 2 people that you have in mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would just kick them out.
Okay.
Like, how many people?
Sometimes you can just tell them like, hey, look, change this, or
warning first. Warning first. Don't just like boot them, but like warning.
Yeah.
my whole thing is if I even have to think about them, and if I even for a moment I'm like dreading doing something, that's where it immediately I know that problem has to be removed.
Yeah.
Because if they make you dread what you do and they're taking up thought cycles, like that's a waste. Yeah.
Yeah. It brings a lot of anxiety to the calls because I'm like,
I hope Tom
I know
doesn't
this
show up.
person. Yeah. I mean, just because they take up so much time and then you sit
But
there
what
and you're
about the
like,
time after the call where you're
Right.
thinking about it?
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it definitely ruins the call for everybody else, but
Right.
like it's for you and them.
And they're going to be thinking about it after the call too.
Yeah. 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 Okay. That's helpful.
Yeah, like warning shot, but after that, like you have to weed a garden, otherwise you get weeds.
First of all, I want to thank Kirby because I was part of the 100, and before that, I was super confused, and now we're here. So thank you, Kirby.
There's 2 shout outs.
And everyone here as well. So yeah, right now we're in the high ticket space, but we're attracting so many people accidentally, let's say, because we're trying to have a targeted people, but we have like 8 million views organically. And we're thinking of why not make a low ticket, because the founder, I'm a growth operator, the founder doesn't really want to do calls anymore. So what I'm thinking, should we just start doing low ticket and stop that high ticket to make it scalable?
So does he not want to deliver for the high ticket thing anymore?
He wants, but he doesn't want.
He wants to make the money from the high ticket thing and not do the delivery of the high ticket thing.
Yeah, I technically do
Tough.
a lot of the delivery.
What are the calls? Is there like one-on-ones or like how many? Like
Yeah, there's a lot of one-on-ones, but also the group calls.
So
And
then it's probably the one-on-ones.
Yeah.
I would see if you can remove the one-on-ones and keep the high ticket. Like generally you can. It's often a trap. Yeah.
Admiral Akbar. Yes, I mean like there's for sure you can sell high ticket with group calls. You can also, as an intermediary, you can do semi-privates. You can do like 1-on-6 or 1-on-7. I mean, you'll 6x the capacity. You'll hit the same issue in like a year, and then you'll have to eventually get to group. But sometimes people have a hard time like emotionally getting through that. So you can make it 2 transitions. But if you know you're going to end up in group calls anyways, like you can still keep the same price point and everything. You still get access just in this format.
I found everyone tends to do one-on-ones longer than they need to. They
Yeah,
swear it's the thing.
It goes
It's
for
like
3
if I
hours,
can't
maybe.
let go of the one-on-one. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and when would you say we can kind of branch to low ticket?
I want to piggyback on what Sam just said about the one-on-one, and then let me answer your thing. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with starting with one-on-one, because if you're brand new, it's like the only kind of like value you can provide in some ways if you're like not an expert or you're just learning the stuff. But once you do one-on-ones for a year, you know that there's 5 problems, and this is how you solve problem 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I can show you how to solve them 100 ways because I just did a whole year of one-on-ones. And so that's what allows you to basically build the productized version or the more scalable version. So I wouldn't see it as like, oh, I wasted my time doing this. It's like you earn the right to scale.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what
Just
we're
so
at
he
right now.
can not feel bad about
Yeah, we're right there.
it. Cool. And what was the other question?
No, it's just now productizing it and making it just low ticket.
Well,
Of course.
you could not make it low ticket and keep it high ticket and just use the narrative I just said.
Sounds good.
You see, you got to like, there was a problem, he doesn't like calls, and then you knee-jerk reacted to low ticket. But really, what if you just got rid of the one-on-one calls? Like, minimal invasive surgery is like kind of how I think about it. Like if there's a problem, try to get in and get out without touching an artery, you know?
Okay.
It's like the building example. Like if we hit refresh, it's like the likelihood that this building is now going to be higher when we change 7 of the bricks is unlikely.
That makes my life easier. Thank you.
Good. Yeah, easy's good.
I have another question. Sorry. Well, it's just my support team is texting me, you know. They want to know if it's possible on the Zoom calls, like the one we use now in school, to instead of mute all is right there, but to mute all of them and do not give them access to open the mic again.
I mean, I'm sure we can do it.
Yeah.
You don't want to do a webinar though?
Well, the thing is that on my calls is like 600 people sometimes, and
So
some
why
of
not
them
use a webinar? Because then there's no grid. It's just your video and anyone else you want to bring up. Have you tried a webinar in school?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, dude, that's what you need. You're
That's
just
what it's built for.
That's what it's built for you to do that.
Yeah.
All right.
We've solved that one.
Thank you. I'll look into it.
So I'm from the Fortnite gaming niche. So my question was about one-off products and one-off offers. I spent like 5-6 years just doing one-off masterclasses, very low ticket, like 25, 40, and how to transition that into Skool. I want to like swap my whole funnel into Skool. I really like the platform, and I think it would be good to swap all of those products into Skool. But what's the best way of doing that? Through tiers, like the guy at the back was saying, or through, I know you can do like classrooms that are locked and you pay for, but what would you say is the best way to
Well, you
convert?
won Skoolgames. You must be doing something. What are you doing?
I do YouTube, and then just,
Well, I mean, on Skool, I mean, how are you doing it?
that is just a $9
Yeah.
course. Yeah,
Good for you, man.
And is it working?
it's going alright. Yeah,
Can you do more?
yeah, I definitely could, but I want to swap over the the one-off offers into Skool.
Oh, I
That's what I'm
see.
talking about.
What's the
Why
revenue?
don't,
Yeah, go
why don't you
ahead.
just put them all in there and just charge, like, if you just point all of that traffic to there, then
Yeah.
now you've just got one offer that includes everything you used to have.
Yeah.
You'd have to do the math. Like, I don't know what all of that is, but it might just work out.
Okay. What do you think about doing with tiers? They pay for the higher tier and then they get everything else included.
I think if you have to ask me if you should use tiers, you probably shouldn't.
Okay.
But if you really have a great idea for tiers, you should.
What's the best way to add value with tiers? 'Cause I know a lot of people here just have a one-off offer.
Because we talked about this yesterday, and you said, it's you've seen a few examples that didn't work. So how
Well, I
I've
think
done-
we're not going to know if it works or doesn't, at least for another like 30
Yeah.
days, right?
Yeah. So I've raised my price to $99 last year, and that was making it harder for me to grow because I mainly grow from cold traffic with ads, and that was just a little bit too high of a price point to keep scaling beyond a certain point. And so I used tiers to lower the price point, basically just giving the community and the challenge, right? So adding, like if you think everybody that was in there, they were grandfathered in, and then introducing a lower tier where it's just the community and a challenge. So you could consider testing something like that, where it's like a kickoff challenge and then they have the community. Then you have a higher tier for all the courses, all the work that's in there right now. And then in the annual, you could add the one-off product with a, what people really love for the annual is when they have lifetime access to stuff. Because then the annual feels like, oh, I'm not leaving and I leave everything behind. I walk away with something. So the VIP tier is just the annual pulled out. Would that make sense? That lifetime for the one-off things. So they feel like, I'm walking away with something tangible. When I cancel the community, I still keep something. No, on Skool. They can just download it. You just put it in a PDF and that's it.
I think a good way to look at tiers is what happened with Skool. Hi. Basically, Skool had one tier, it was $99. And then if you checked why people were canceling, number one reason, it's too expensive.
Yeah.
We speak to people, Skool's too expensive. We should probably add a second tier. It was like, it wasn't a risk to add a second tier. We knew that people needed it. But what I see with tiers is people just add it just because. There should be like a clear reason to add it because it adds complexity, it adds confusion to the buyer. With the conversion rate now, people have to decide. I would just have one tier, wait until there's a clear need, and then only add it if you need it, if that makes sense.
My issue is I've got like 8 different funnels, all going to different places, like ClickFunnels, Skool. Just too complicated. I want to simplify it and
You'll probably make a lot more by just not having to manage all of the other. Yeah. Well, because I mean, functionally, it's like, where does more pay off? More pays off on promotion, right? On the front end. And then once you have the conversion mechanism, ideally, it's like, you just know the math of how many dollars you make on a click. And then it's like, great, my life is now, how many clicks can I drive to this thing? Makes life really easy.
Another idea is like what Hormozi is doing with his group. He has a workshop every month. You could take all of those courses you were selling, put it in your classroom, and then unlock it month 1, month 2, month 3, so that people stay for a long time.
Yeah, the biggest reason people cancel is, besides price, is overwhelm, right? There's actually too much stuff, which like if there's anything that I can maybe inspire some people to do, which is do fewer, better things. Like we do one workshop a month. That's it. That's all I do. But if the workshop is, and for a business owner that obviously can afford $3,000 a month, if that workshop people pay $6, $10, $12, $15,000 just to travel and everything else. It's like, well, if that pays more than that, then this is a steal. But I spend time on making sure that it's like really good rather than like, oh, I've got 9 things I have to deliver on and they're all mediocre. Like attention is so rare. Like I think Sam's done a really good job with, and Kirby, there you go. I think a really good job with Skool News. Like I watch do you guys all watch all the Skool News? Right. Yeah, I do too. I know it's on Tuesday and I pretty much always watch it on Tuesday at some point during the day. Because it's super bite-sized, it's 20, 30 minutes, it's high signal to noise, like it's super concentrated. And I think I kind of think the same way of like once a week. I mean, I'm at once a month, mine are a little longer. But most people like watch it with their teams. It's like a 3-hour thing and I just get really deep on something. But it's like that extra depth is where I think the value is.
So I'm with Pickleball School and Savvy Basketball, and the way we've been using tiers so far, so we're discussing, is there a better way? And we're kind of taking the Sam route of like, let's wait and see. But one way we're using it is we actually get a lot of annuals, and we always have because we've focused on it. We're 55% with Pickleball School and about 48% with Savvy Coaching. And so what we use the tiers for is the 3 prices, monthly, annual, and then we have a decoy price that's like $5,000. And the idea is like, can this help us drive more people, even more people to annual? So that's one way we thought immediately this will add value to us because now we get those 3 prices, the psychology of it. So I just wanted to share that because that's how we've been using tiers so far.
Super good.
Okay, last one.
Okay, I keep hearing you say something order of magnitudes. Is that like a way of thinking or decision making that you?
It's like add zeros to something.
Like add zeros to something?
Yeah. So if you like a 10x or a 100x, like.
Is it like relevant to like business owners at all levels, or is that something like you've?
It's really with statistics, but like, just think bigger, like a lot bigger. Like he's orders of magnitude better. It's like standard deviations in like a populace or any kind of like you have a normal curve, and so. With every standard deviation against the norm, you have an order of magnitude.
Okay, got you. I had 2 more questions. Is that all right? It was a question about personality traits. I'm not sure if this is like, and both of you can answer. I'm not sure if this is something that you've really thought about or in terms of like shifting your beliefs when it comes to growing as a business owner and getting to a point where you really want to do something big. Because I noticed like when I see you speak or Sam speak or Elon speak, like these big business owners, they have similar personality traits that like, I feel like all business owners should have if they want to do something really great. So I'm not sure if that's something you guys have thought about or have an answer for.
I just focus on the thing. And when you do the thing a lot, it tends to change you a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not intentional personality traits. It's just what seems to work to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Just that simple. Just do it.
Well, I would just translate instead of personality traits, just think like what are the behaviors? Because personality traits can be these really amorphous words that we like toss around.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really like just coming down to like what are the behaviors that increase the likelihood that I get this outcome? So if I do lots of things mediocre versus one thing really well, what will the market reward? Probably one thing really well. A lot of the simple advice is hard in practice because focus is so difficult and delaying gratification is so hard.
Mm-hmm. So it's just focus and delaying gratification.
Yeah, you got to work on something for a really long time in order to get good. And so like volume, like doing a lot of work on something inherently will take longer than you think it will. And in order to do a lot of work on something, you cannot work on other things. And so to maximize volume, you do one thing for a long time. And that's where the coats of paint come in, where the depth of understanding, like Sam has an unbelievable knowledge around churn. like building out all the dashboards for you guys, like the robust stuff that you guys have and like cohort, there's so many different like layers to it. Because originally you're like, oh yeah, 10% churn. So it's like, of what cohort, over what period of time? Like, does it even out at some point? Sometimes it just degrades. Like there's a lot more to it. And you only get that level of understanding by just sitting with problems for long periods of time. And I think the people who do best, like you can solve, like many people can solve a problem and one solution can be significantly better than another. And typically you don't arrive at that solution without really working through it because the obvious solution is the one that everyone else also did, which does not make you unique.
My last question was about questions. So it's just a question about questions, like asking better questions, especially like when you're on your own, like when you're not here, you know, or for people who are watching this video, you know, they don't get a chance to be here. And so I'm not sure if there's like, I don't know, like an approach or a way of thinking you use to just think like, is this a dumb question? Can I answer this myself? Or is this a question that actually needs maybe like an actual mentor or just more resources that I need to search for?
I like Sam has some feelings on it.
I always just say like, what is the problem?
That's it, right? Just like,
and not to anyone else. I just ask myself.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just ask it again and again and again. And then when you define the problem, the answer immediately appears.
Yeah.
The problem was that you didn't know what the problem was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then you find you don't ask other people a whole lot of questions when you get really good at that.
Yeah.
Unless the answer isn't immediately obvious.
Gotcha. Okay. So
then you might ask who else has experienced this problem.
Yeah.
Right?
How did they solve it?
Yeah.
Like our Spanish bros.
I did have a few other questions, not here though. They're business questions. If it's okay to ask.
We got the whole day
at the headquarters.
Yeah, we got a whole day. Yeah, no, it's honestly a better setting to ask the questions later.
Okay. Yeah, I got you.
Cool.
I'm done.
All right.
Good.